Hello, in today's video, I know I haven't done one of these in a while, and for that I'm sorry. I just really haven't had a lot to say. I've also been very busy working on an additional book that is going to take place after book 6 comes out, which I'll get into when I talk about book 6 later in the video. But if you read the title, you know that this video is going to be about the upcoming election with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and sort of my ideas on the state of the world, my opinions. So, if that is something that you have no interest in, if I cannot change your mind with my thoughts as an everyday American, then please feel free to click off this video. But if you are actually open to hearing someone's thoughts and maybe taking in, then I'm glad you're here. And with that said, let's just go ahead and jump into the video. Alright, so, as I said, and this is your last warning, I don't know how else to tell you, but if you're going to be triggered by anything I have to say, please don't watch. I mean, if you choose to watch, you are making that choice. I am hopeful that maybe I can reach some of you that are on the left. I highly doubt it. I don't even think you're going to go past this part. But if you do, great. I only ask that you please do not flood my comment section with nothing but negative comments and thoughts of your own. Those will be removed. I'm just letting you know right now that I'm not going to put up with that. I'm not going to keep that in my comment section. I mean, if you have something really honest to say, I'll leave it. I know everyone's not going to agree with me. And that's okay. You live in America. The choice to, well, be free to say what you want to say. Which means I'm free to say what I want to say and what my opinions are. So to start this video, we're going to start with everything I know about Donald Trump. I mean, a lot of this is probably going to be repetitive information that everybody knows. But let's just go through a brief history from when I was a child to when I became an adult. What I know about Trump. So starting at the beginning, honestly, I might have seen him a little bit here and there.
You really think this is the right thing for us to be doing, Ivana?
What will people think?
Let them talk.
Donald.
Ivana. It's wrong, isn't it?
But it feels so right.
Then it's a deal?
Yes, we eat our pizza the wrong way.
Crust first.
Introducing stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut. With a ring of cheese baked into a totally new, thinner crust, you'll want to eat it the wrong way. Crust first.
May I have the last slice?
Actually, you're only entitled to half.
Large, just $9.99.
Excuse me, where's the lobby?
Down the hall and to the left.
Thanks.
But Trump never really went on my radar as a child because I really didn't follow him. I didn't really know a lot about the business world or anything. I heard the name several times. I think it was around the time I was in middle school, or yeah, it was probably middle school, when reality shows started becoming huge. And Trump was on this one show called The Apprentice, where from a kid's point of view, he sort of had this reputation the same reputation that one guy from American Idol had.
Yes, I hung up. You didn't get disconnected. I hung up.
Performance could have been better.
Could have been better.
It could have been a hell of a lot better. But look, I'm not a guy who's going to run around blaming people. So I'm going to take responsibility for that.
That's fine.
So if you want to fire me, go right ahead.
All right, Gene,
But I think
you're fired. Hey, Michael, let me ask you a question.
Sure, Mr. Trump.
He's knocking the hell out of Stephanie. He's telling me how bad Stephanie is, and you're interrupting him with nonsense over nothing. Why don't you let him knock? He's not knocking you for a change. I mean, how stupid can you be?
But Mr. Trump, I
Now,
kind
let me ask you this. He's knocking Stephanie, and you want him to stop knocking Stephanie. I'm starting to think that maybe you should be fired. What do you think about that?
Mr. Trump, that's
Why
right.
wouldn't you let him go? Let me ask you this, Michael. He's killing her. He's going after her. She should be fired, according to him. And you're trying to stop him from talking.
Because Mr. Trump, I was
Hey, look, you claim to be like me. The difference is I work hard. You've been lazy. You've been nothing but trouble. And now you cut them off as they're fighting each other for who should be fired. Michael,
yes,
Michael.
yes, sir.
You're fired.
Where he was just brutal to the contestants. Like, he didn't hold back, which is something he has carried on throughout his whole life. He is just brutally honest. He says exactly what he means to say. He has no filter, and he's just going to let you know the truth. So these people, from what I understand about the show, now granted, I wasn't into reality shows. I thought they were stupid. I think they're all stupid. If you like them, great. That's on you. If you grew up with them, if you watched American Idol, I mean, to me, as a kid, I used to call it, who sings the best karaoke? That's basically what it was. Nobody was going up there with their own original songs. They were singing other people's songs, trying to sing the songs better than the people who made the songs. And yeah, some people actually did do really well. Like, I remember seeing clips of, oh, this person won. I think, like, one of the first winners was, like, Carrie Underwood or something. I don't know for sure. I know that some people got famous because they were really bad. I think that one guy that sang Chocolate Rain or something might have been a contestant. But I remember that it was really huge. And anything they could make a reality show after American Idol, they made a reality show out of it. But Trump, he had that same reputation. I don't remember the dude's name. I think it's like Brian. I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, I never watched American Idol. I mean, I caught glimpses of it, but I didn't really sit down and watch and say, oh, who's going to win today? And since I didn't watch that, I can guarantee you I did not watch The Apprentice. But I heard about it. I heard the name Donald Trump. And I heard how people were criticizing the show because, oh, he's so mean. He's so cruel to them. And, I mean, that's business. But moving on, because we'll come back to that. Okay? We'll revisit this section, or this part of his life. But then he dropped off my radar. And it wasn't until right around 2015, 2016, I started hearing the name Donald Trump again. And I heard, oh, he's running for president. And so I thought about him like, oh, wait, wasn't that the dude that, like, at one point, wasn't he like the richest man in America? And I looked him up and I found out, like, oh, he was one of the richest men in America. He made so much money from all his businesses and stuff. And I started thinking about it. And I was like, wow, you know, normally when you got somebody running for president, their entire lives are devoted to the politics of the U.S. They go to college to basically become president. Have you ever in your life, well, I mean, there have been a few exceptions, but that was before, like, everything was schooled. Like, you had to go to school to be president. You had to get top grades to be president. When was the last time a normal person was elected president? No, the video didn't pause. I paused. I was giving you a chance to type it. That was being over dramatic, by the way. Because nobody with a C average was ever elected president. Why? Because the world said, hey, only the top graded people can get into the position. But those people, they got so much going for them. And they're going to school specifically to become president. That is what their job is going to be. That's what they want their job to be. So the limited pool of contestants to become president, and yes, I said contestants because that's what it was like. It's like winning the lottery. Because if you became president, as far as I understand it, you're set for life. The government pays for everything. You do not need to work once you've been president. Donald Trump does not need to rerun for president. He doesn't need to. He's set. He was a millionaire before. He was probably a billionaire before he became president the first time. And now he's running again. Why? He doesn't need to. His life is golden. He can retire. He can try to just live out the rest of his life, and he doesn't have to care about any one of you. Not one person listening to this video, not even me, he doesn't have to care about any of us. Why? Because he's already set. Hell, his family is set for life. They don't need to work. He has so much money that his kids and his grandkids are probably taken care of. But yet he ran for president. And at that time, I was researching him, and I was like, you know what? This is a great idea. One of the best businessmen in the freaking country, who has built a lifestyle of being the best businessman, for president. The person who's going to be making business deals with other countries to keep us from going to war and keep things going in a good direction, this guy is going to be in charge. A guy who knows business. Because what does it all boil down to? For so long, everybody has always said that behind the scenes of politics, you got businessmen. And now a businessman is actually going to just step up and be the face of our country. And everyone at the time who was trying to get Hillary elected, like nobody, and I'll go into her in a second, but he actually stepped up and he's like, I'm going to do this. And then from what I heard, once he actually got elected, he didn't even want to be paid. He's like, I'll just do the job for free. Give my paycheck to, poor people or stuff. Now, I don't know if that actually happened. But that's what I've heard. And honestly, it would be true because he doesn't need that money. And he's not greedy. And his whole election cycle was make America great again. Which everybody tried to tear down. At the time, they were calling it MAGA. And before Donald Trump ever said this, which I'll get into what he said in a little bit, but I was confused. I was like, why do people hate this? This is exactly what we need. We need a businessman dealing with all the other countries in the world. But no, that doesn't work. Why? Well, because of one important fact that I forgot at the time, which is we need war to survive. We really do. If you really think about it, we cannot survive as a human race without war. That's why every Fallout game always starts with somebody saying, war never changes. Why? Because we need it. It creates too many jobs. There is so much money that is made through war. But you put Donald Trump in office, and he can negotiate and deal to settle and satisfy people. Well, now you're not going to be going to war. So people aren't selling as many guns anymore. People are living peacefully. This is why we can't have peace. And the 2020 election was pretty much what sealed that, which we'll get into here in a minute. But yeah, so Trump was president. He won over Hillary. And now, whenever I think about the left, I just keep replaying the opening scene from the first episode of American Horror Story, where they actually showed Trump winning. And I remember that night. I remember watching it live on TV, and they were like, oh, well, we're going to wait till the morning because, they're still doing counts, and we're not going to know until the morning, so we're going to go ahead and this, and they did some other stuff, and then like 20 minutes later, Trump comes right back on stage. Well, she just called me and conceded. So she knew she lost. Hillary knew she lost and basically just handed it over to Trump. And it was like, okay, that's a really good thing. I was actually really happy. I was like, hey, maybe things will get better. And for a while, they actually started to. I noticed in my personal life, I had some really bad things happen to me while Trump was president. I went through a divorce. I fought for custody of my daughter. I won custody of my daughter. And I was doing very well. Like, I am deep in debt. I am solely reliant on my job, and my job as a writer, and my books aren't selling. I was finally, right near the end of his presidency, right before COVID, I was getting to a place where I was actually on the verge of just climbing out of debt. But then COVID happened. An unforeseen event that, yes, I've heard all the conspiracy theories, and I don't know what's true. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, this is true over this. I don't know. I have speculations. I have thoughts. I can't say for 100% certainty this or that happened. But what I can say is that personally, how it affected me was I stopped making as much money. Money started to decline. But luckily, Trump, who was still in office, started giving out stimulus checks, which really helped. And we were supposed to get more, but he lost the election. So we didn't get any more. And if he wasn't taking a paycheck, like, I could see where that money came from. And people are like, oh, you're going to have to pay it back. Well, if Trump hasn't been getting paid and he's giving out his paychecks to the poor, basically, that's where the money's coming from. It's coming directly from him, kind of. I know that's not where it came from. I know they set aside portions of bills and stuff. But we only saw a small percentage of that money that was used in those bills that were passed. And because I was following the news very closely at the time. But then he lost to Biden. And the whole January 6th thing happened, which unfortunately was probably a very bad time for the right, for the Republicans, because that gave the Democrats all the freaking gunpowder they needed for the next 20 years. We are only 4 years into a 20-year gap. I mean, it is at the point already, luckily, it's happening a lot sooner than I anticipated. I actually anticipated that they would hold this over the right side for at least 10 years. But they pushed it too hard, and it's losing some of its abilities. I mean, it's still enough of a powder keg that it's inspiring the left against the right. Again, the Democrats against the Republicans. It's inspiring them enough, but it's not winning over Republicans. You're not getting Republicans to go that way. More, and the people in the middle are more now leaning towards the right because they're like, you know what? We're sick about hearing about January 6th. And so much has come out that has disproven all the crap that January 6th was so bad. And I think what really pushed it over the edge for them, what really got them ignored, and that's why it's died down some. But trust me, it'll keep coming back. They throw it in. Even today, they launch right back to it any chance they think they can. But what really put them over the edge, in my opinion, was when they said it was worse than 9/11. So many times they have tried to claim, the left has tried to say, it is worse than 9/11. In what universe is that worse than 9/11? Let's see. Let's look at the two now. You got 9/11, which actually had a lot of people die. I don't care if you think it's some conspiracy or whatnot, but people did die. Nobody died on January 6th. At least no one in that Capitol building. But again, they try to say it was worse than that. They've tried to say it's worse than anything that's happened in this country. And people aren't buying it. And that's what's leaning them over to the right. I'm more talking about the people in the middle, which is where I used to be. I used to be in the middle because I agreed with both sides. Both sides had their benefits. But more and more, as this past, since I'd say for the past, 20 years. 24 years to be exact. Since around the time Obama became president. I really hated when Obama became president and passed that Obamacare, which Trump got rid of, thank God. Because it was stupid. So, we put up with Biden. His time is almost up. And now Trump's running again. And what are they doing? They're immediately jumping to all the same things they tried when he ran against Hillary and when he ran against Biden in 2020. I mean, they're just repeating the same beats over and over and over, and beating you head over the head with the same stuff again and again. And a lot of people are just like tuning out. They're like, no. But let's dive into Biden and Kamala here. So, Biden and Kamala, well, Biden was a joke, and he was only becoming a bigger joke the more and more time went on. The more and more he was president. I mean, if he had won, if he had stayed in the race and won, I could honestly tell you that I think there would have been a civil war, because there's no way, with everything that has happened with Biden, that he could have won himself a second term. I would have been one of those people that said Trump's got this in the bag. At that point, when he was running, before he even debated Biden on stage, and I heard the hilarious stuff after the fact because I was working, so I couldn't actually watch that live. But I heard about all the stuff he was saying and how he was acting on stage, and I thought it was funny. I was like, oh man, Trump's got this in the bag. Trump should have had this in the bag in 2020. There should have been no way Biden got in office. So everything that's bad that's happened has happened because of him. Everything. If Trump had stayed in office, we would have resolved the whole COVID thing probably a lot sooner. Which a lot of people are now, like, everything that has happened in the past 24 years, people keep talking about it. Saying how, oh, it's a conspiracy. Oh, it's a conspiracy. But when it was Trump in office, the only conspiracy with him was the whole COVID thing. And he wasn't even part of it. They were saying, oh, it was an attack. The conspiracy was that we were being attacked. That it was a virus that was released on purpose. Now, I don't know if that's true. I didn't see anything. I mean, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Who knows? I mean, you could speculate, but I never heard anybody flat out accused. Because the media, they won't want to cover it if that actually happened. If that actually happened, and you write that in the comments below, then they must have slipped it deep under the radar, because I watch more reliable news sources that I trust. And I don't want to say who, but if you followed my channel, you know who I'm talking about. Daily Wire. Okay, maybe I did say it, but anyways, and others. And trust me, these people, they would have mentioned it. They would have mentioned if somebody was outed for releasing COVID. Trump did the best job he could with the advice he was being given by idiots who were deep leftists who were telling him, oh yeah, do this. He had such an issue with his presidency ending that way that it's like you can't blame him for it. It's not his fault. And he did basically what every other country was doing at the time. Every single one. Not one country was not doing the same thing, as far as I know. All the other major powers that were worried about COVID were all doing the same thing. All following the same advice. But no, we're gonna blame Trump. And we'll get into why later. I know I keep saying that, but I have a whole section dedicated to why these people, or if you are on the left and you actually are watching this to be changed, get your mind changed maybe, then I'm going to tell you why I think you hate Trump. I will give you the reason. I will put it in front of you and I will show it to you. But let's move on. So then recently, and I know everybody's heard about this, then we had, Biden was losing. He was losing bad. I mean, it was quite clear that there is no way come this November Biden could have won. And that would have left two choices for the left. Replace Biden with someone else, or continue using Biden, get him a second term, and then prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the election was rigged against Trump. And if you think, I'm just going to say this now, if you think that that's not going to be the first thing every single person on the right is going to think come November, then you've got another thing coming. Because it doesn't matter who is sitting in the chair as the candidate for the left. The left has screwed up this whole election so badly that there is no way they can win without people thinking the election was rigged. They made this bed, they gotta lie in it. Now, the only option they have is Trump winning. Kamala, she cannot win. And I'll tell you why at the end of the video. But now, let's move on. Like I said, Biden was losing. He's losing bad. There was no way he could continue on. So his own supporters were pulling their support. Why was this happening? Well, because somebody tried to kill Trump. And they made a huge mistake by trying. Now, once again, I'm saying this word. Conspiracy. Again. Like, oh my God, how many conspiracies do we need here? COVID's a conspiracy. The Trump thing's a conspiracy. The Trump assassination is a conspiracy. The elections last time were a conspiracy. So much of this is a conspiracy. It's getting a little tiresome. But here, right now, with what's going on with this whole Trump assassination thing and how it's being swept under the rug now, like, oh, we got this one girl to be fired who was in charge of the Secret Service, and now we're going to continue looking on. I do still see some videos coming out, but they're not as much. And this should still be like #1 news until we find out every tiny detail. I mean, we find out so much when there's a school shooting, which, again, there's something else where it's another conspiracy, because now they're trying to cover those up. And I'll probably dive more into that later, too. But back to the Trump assassination attempt. If it was our own government, they're stupid as hell. If it was this lone gunman who tried to make a modern JFK, then he was dumb as hell. And here's why. If he had actually managed to succeed and kill Trump, you would have made him a martyr. In which case, anybody who would have been put in his place as the next president, would have instantly won. And everything Trump was thinking of doing, or they think Trump was going to do, would happen. The right would bring the hammer down hard. And it would all be in the name of Trump. That's how badly they screwed up. And if it was someone in the government, then again, you failed. Because you failed, you've made him now into a very incredibly powerful symbol for the right. You have made him like a living god. Someone who is destined. And there's no way out of that. That is the one thing. They will ride that till November. I mean, at this point, he's basically like Gustavo Fring from Breaking Bad when he walked out to face the sniper. Like, almost, at this point, he could almost dare them. He could walk right out into the middle of the street of a busy part of New York and dare somebody to shoot him. And if someone is actually stupid enough to do that, I don't think people are that stupid. Because, again, that you kill him, you make him a martyr. Are you that dumb? Do you not see the problem you've put your whole party into? So that's why I don't know if it's a government conspiracy. And if it is incompetence, well, then that just means that when he wins, hopefully he wins in November, then he should go in there and seriously clean house. You know, just start firing people left and right. Go back to the Donald Trump from The Apprentice. Who cares if you get a bad name? Because you're letting all these people go. He never cared before. I don't see why he would start caring now. Before, he was trying to play nice. When he was during his first 4 years in office, he tried to play nice. He tried to respect at both sides. Even though they have thrown huge insults at him, calling him all the things in the book, racist, fascist, just everything. And every time he's proven them wrong. They say, oh, he's going to be like a dictator if he gets elected again. He wasn't the first time. He let Black Lives Matter protests in cities. He let the people go out there and protest in the cities. I'm waiting for the part where he's a dictator, because most dictators are not going to let you do that. They are not going to let you protest, and they would probably have you shot and removed if you did not remove yourself quickly. There would be military soldiers, not police, not fire rescue, not civilians, but military soldiers. Big, tall men with guns shooting you. If he was truly a dictator. I don't think people understand. There's this book. It's a very remarkable book. It's called a dictionary. Now, I'm of course talking about a dictionary that existed before 2014, before we started to get into a world where words don't really matter anymore because they have 1,000 different meanings to whatever people cater them to mean. But I've gone over this many times in the past. People need to learn what words are. And you really need to take a look at what a true dictator would be like. Because we did not get that from Trump in his first 4 years. But unless you would like to see that for real, yeah, keep pushing the man. Keep pushing him to the point where that might actually come to pass. Because, I mean, if I were him and I could be elected president and I could get into office, let me tell you, people would not be protesting. Because I have serious issues with all these current protests that I hear about every single freaking week. And some of them are laugh out loud funny. First, we had the George Floyd protest where people were protesting against the police. Are you kidding me? Seriously? Protesting against the police. The people that are there to keep you safe, are all police good? No, probably not. I guarantee at least 10% of all police officers are probably bad. But there are 90% of them that are good, that are just out there doing the job they were hired to do. They are putting their life on the line every day. I am so sick of hearing that, like, jobs are not harmful. Jobs are just something to go to. I have told my coworkers, we have a dangerous job. I do pizza delivery. When I'm not writing or raising my daughter, I'm doing pizza delivery. Why do I think my job is so dangerous? I drive safely every day. I go out there and I try to be as safe as possible. But here's the problem. Just because I'm safe doesn't mean everybody else on the road is safe. There are a lot of stupid people out there who do a lot of stupid things. If you don't believe me, go on you're already on YouTube. Go look up something. I bet you'll find 1,000 videos of people who did stupid things in cars and got into major car accidents. I had an incident just this weekend where this guy kept slowing down, speeding up to almost hit my bumper, then slowing down again, then speeding up, and I got into the turn lane as he came speeding up, and he almost hit the car in front of him. He was less than an inch away from hitting a bumper of a truck. He could have lost his life. If he didn't manage to stop in time, he could have went flying through his windshield. Because his car was bigger than mine, but not as big as that truck in front of him. So he got real lucky. And I got lucky that I actually got into the turn lane when I did. So, yes, is being a pizza delivery driver a tough job? It can be. Like I said, you know how many stupid things I watch people do on the road daily? During the day? A lot. I see this happen a lot. Stupid decisions by stupid drivers. Like people who run red lights. I almost got nailed once going through an intersection. If I had just been through that intersection 10 seconds earlier, or not even 10 seconds, 5 seconds, I would have been nailed, sidelined by a speeding truck because he wanted to get through his red light. And his light was red. There was no, oh, it just turned red. As it was red, I started to move, and then he kept flying by. But you know what? Cops, they got it worse. They show up to a 911 call. They have to be cautious. They're on edge. They're at the ready. And they're willing to throw their life on the line to protect you or the people you love. And people treat cops like shit. And it's sad. And they want to defund the police, which is even sadder. Because now you're going to have less cops. Okay, fine. Go look at California. See how well that's working out for them. Go to places where there are no cops and the gangs run the streets. If that's where you want to live, go there. Those places exist. No one's stopping you. Literally, give up your comfy life and go there. I don't care if you're a millionaire or a poor person like me. Go to that place that you want to live. Give me your nice home and car and go live there. I bet you won't do it. I guarantee you won't do it. And then we got more protests. Oh, we had a protest for Ukraine. My buddy, someone I work with, he was telling me how worried he was because he has an internet friend who lives in the Ukraine. And he was so worried. And I shouldn't say anything bad. But I'm hearing that it's both sides' faults. Both sides of this conflict are to blame. But you know what? I told my friend, and the same thing I've said with the current one, which is the whole Palestine thing. No, I'll tell you right now, I don't care about it. I didn't care about the Ukraine thing. I don't care about the Palestine or whatever's going on there. I don't care about either side. I have no interest in either side of this debate. Why? Because I don't live there. It's not my problem. It's their problem. And if you think it's your problem, why are you protesting in our streets? Go there, get on a plane, fly to Israel, go there and do your protest there where it's actually happening. We do not need to be dragged into fights that do not have anything to do with us. This is why I said we need war. People desire war to survive. They can't live without it. They can't live without the freaking conflict. They want it so freaking badly that they're going to protest in innocent streets where it has nothing to do with these people. They go to colleges and protest at colleges. People are trying to get an education at college. They have no say in what's going on in freaking Israel. They have no say what's going on in the Ukraine. Which, speaking of the Ukraine, by the way, just kind of faded away. The whole Palestine thing happened, and that became bigger than the Ukraine. I don't even know if it's still going on or not. I haven't heard what happened there. Nobody talks about it anymore. Now all you hear about is, Palestine. This actually does affect me, or it's starting to affect me, because, like, I like to watch movies. And we have actors and actresses who are quitting acting or losing jobs because they support this side over this side, or they agree with this over that. Who freaking cares? Here's my advice for anyone, anywhere who has anything to say about anything happening outside the United States. Shut up. Get on a plane, go to where your thing is happening, grab a gun, and join their army. Stop being a traitor to the country you're in, the country that's letting you live here, and go fight over there. Go fight them. Actually, put your money where your mouth is. Now, I know that might sound harsh, but honestly, I think our leaders should be deporting these criminals who are blocking our streets, who are taking up and fighting against for something that's not even happening in this country, that has nothing to do with this country. We have no say in this. We have no stake in it. They want to fight, fine. It's happening in another country. Stop dragging us into a war. That's my issue when it comes to protesting. Because you're going to take a day off from work, which this actually happened during the whole Black Lives Matter thing. People in my small town took time off from work to go protest at a mall. Like, what good is that going to do? The police actually had to hire motorcyclists to come in and be temporary officers and help keep peace. Because there wasn't enough police officers in this town to do it. So people could protest. Something that's stupid to protest anyway. Because, you know what? The whole racism thing is stupid. Because we had it freaking beat by the year 2000. By the time 9/11 happened, it was done with. No one was really talking about skin color anymore. No one cared. It wasn't a thing. But then suddenly, 2014 came along. 2015 came along. And suddenly, it mattered what skin color you were. It mattered what gender you were. It mattered if you were white or black. And I'm not doing this whole POC thing. I don't care. Because technically, there aren't really any black people. They're brown. If you want to get down technical, fine. Then start admitting the actual historical facts too. That the slave masters who sold them to the white people were also black. Were other Africans who sold off their own people. Hell, I think I put a video out about this already. If I haven't, then welcome to the club. But hey, all you people on the left who complain about racism and slavery, which was done with a long time ago, hey, here's a news flash for you. Guess what? You should be thanking America.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.
Thank you?
You're welcome.
What? No. I didn't. I wasn't. Why would I ever?
We are the godsend for slavery. Why do I say that? Because of one simple fact. We were one of the first countries to put a stop to it. It's still going on in other countries today. But we were like, no more. And we actually had our own civil war over the matter. People lived and died trying to stop it Because half the country wanted to keep it going. The other half was like, no, we're going to stop. If that never happened, we'd probably still have slaves today. But, no. You want to know who's been the worst slaves? The people who have had it the worst? The Jews. They've been slaves since back in the days of ancient Egypt. But nobody cares to talk about that. So many countries all around the world have had slavery problems. And it's still going on today. But that's why I say, these protesters, they should be gathered up and shipped out. You burn a flag in this country, you're going to jail until we get your butt on a plane and sent over to Israel or Palestine or Ukraine or Russia, wherever you want to go. Wherever you want to go fight. We're not even going to keep you here. You're not going to be allowed back in. You're out, gone. We don't want you here. We don't want you in this country if you don't care about this country. If you don't like it, leave. I like living here in America. And I tell this to my friend all the time because he has actually said, oh, America sucks. It's like, well, then leave. Get out. Make room for other people who do want to live here. All those people who want more Mexicans to come up here and take jobs, good, fine. Then you go to Mexico. Get off your ass, pack your shit, and go to Mexico. If it's not that bad there, go live there. Give up your spot here in America to someone who actually wants to be here. But you're not going to do that, are you? No, you're going to sit there and you're going to whine and complain. You're going to try to say, oh, well, it's not fair. Well, guess what? Was it fair you were born here? If you think you got it so rough, if you think you got it so easy, I should say, sorry. If you think your life is so easy, so privileged, then give that privilege to someone else. Stop bitching about it, stop whining about it, and give it to someone else. Don't just live off it, because that makes you a hypocrite. Makes you one of the biggest hypocrites there is, because you're sitting there telling everyone else how bad they are for not doing what you're not doing. You know how I know this? Because you're on TikTok or YouTube or wherever else complaining about America. Which brings me back to the point I was talking about earlier with the whole slogan for Make America Great Again, which Trump ran on. And yes, this is a long way to get back to Trump, but here we are. Make America Great Again, like he recently said in a live event. What is the problem with that? If you care about this country, if you like living in this country, you should want it to be great. Obviously, we are great because people from other countries want in so bad. And if you cannot see that, then fine, leave. Back to the same point here. If you don't like it here, go. If you don't like a certain restaurant, you're not going to go in. I mean, I guess there are people who probably do this, but they're not going to, typically you're not going to go in and order the same food every single time and then bitch about how it tastes so bad. Eventually, guess what? You do that enough times, the owner is going to kick your ass out. And he's not going to let you come back in. You're going to be banned from that restaurant because he doesn't need you in his place of business spreading your negativity about his business. And that's how it should be here in America. If you don't like it here, if you're going to go out publicly and say something against it, then get out. Go to Canada. They're right north. Just head north. I don't care where you are in this country. North. go north. And if it's too cold, then go to Mexico. Go south. And if you don't like it in Mexico, keep going south. Eventually you'll get to South America. It's another America, but, hey, that's this whole side of the globe here, If you don't like it there, guess what? You got a whole another couple countries you can go check out. You got a lifetime to check them out, too. You got Europe, Asia, Australia. So find somewhere you like. Obviously, so many of these young people who are doing all these protesting, they really like Palestine or Israel, so maybe they should go live there. All the trans people can go with them because they're all protesting for these things too. They may get killed once they get there, but hey, that's on them. They picked it. And don't even get me started on that. I might do a whole separate video about that if this one does well, but I doubt it will. It'll probably get buried in the YouTube algorithm. But no, that's my thoughts on that. So, can we put a freaking stop to the stupid protesting and the stupid being traitors to the country you're living in and the racism? Because the racism crap is out of control. I knew this was going to happen back when it first started. I said, I used to tell people, I'm like, okay, this is the problem with this new version. That's what it is. It's racism 2.0. Because you are basically taking a black person to a party. You are putting them up on the coffee table and telling everyone, hey, shut up. Give this guy some attention because he's black. That's what they're telling you. That's what they're trying to do with Harris right now. Oh, well, at first she was like Asian or Israel or something, and now all of a sudden she's black. And Trump actually made that comment, and they attacked him for it. But there's actually proof to back that up. But the left, they don't want to hear that. They're like, no, that never happened. No, she's always been black. But she originally ran on the thing that she was Asian. But anyways, that's why I say we need a businessman in the White House to do business with the other countries, to make our country great, and to settle the freaking wars down that are going on out there, and be like, hey, let's figure a way out where we can live peacefully. Do you know that maybe if we lived peacefully, we could devote instead of having this war ideology and proving me right that we need war to survive, we could maybe find other things to do with the world. We can maybe make some improvements. We can maybe colonize other worlds. Like actually have a base on the moon where we can do crap up on the moon, whatever we want to live there, whatever. Have an international base of operations. America 2.0. At this point, I'm all for, let's gather up all the trans and people there are and all these people who believe in the trans ideology. Let's ship them to the moon and see how long they last. We'll build them a base. We'll help them out. We'll get them started. But once they're started, they're on their own. We won't give them weapons because we don't want them to come and attack us. If they want to build weapons, they got to do it on their own. But we'll give them enough supplies, last them a couple of years. We'll send up, water and stuff. We'll help them get started and see if they thrive. But that's my thing on that. Alright, so I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to talk about something completely off the topic. Book 6 of my book series, The Guardian of Light, is coming out soon. I'm hoping by the end of September to release book 6. There might be a delay because the editor I currently am using is sick in the hospital. He's having some major medical issues. So I'm really hopeful that he'll pull through. So he has been working on it some, he's told me, but I'm really hoping he gets better soon. And he's kind of like the first person to actually read book 6, so I don't even know how much he likes it or if there's anything he dislikes. I'm hoping he gets better soon and can get it edited. Like I said, he has been working on it, but there might be a delay. I don't know. There will definitely be a delay in the audiobook, unfortunately. We were hoping that he could get the audiobook recorded and done around the same time he finished editing, so we could release both at pretty much the same time. But unfortunately, it does not seem like that might be the case. But book 6 will be out somewhat soon. Hopefully, like I said, by the end of September. I've also got a book I'm also going to be releasing, which will be a big tie-in to the Guardian of Light series. I don't have an official title for it. It's the only last thing I got to do after I finish writing it. But, yeah. Book 6 will conclude the Darkness arc for the Guardian of Light. If you've read the first 5 books, you will not be disappointed, in my opinion. I'm very confident that this book is probably going to be the best one of these 6. I do plan on continuing the series, but I really think that you should consider checking out books 1 through 5, which I'll probably push a little bit harder at the end of the video. But let's move on. So let's get back to the video. Alright, so I basically talked already about everything that's gone on with Trump and how stupid the assassination attempt was. Like I said, you made him into basically a very powerful figure. It's going to be really hard to beat. Even though, yeah, it's fading away, people are starting to forget about it now. Because as soon as it happened, you had Biden drop out of the race, and then Kamala Harris came along, and she started her racist crap. And yes, I say racist crap because they're sitting there calling Trump racist, yet she's the one holding Zoom calls, massive Zoom calls for certain skin colors or certain genders. But Trump's the one that's racist. That doesn't add up. That does not compute well. Huh? Anyways. So, why do I think Trump will be good? Because I'm hopeful that if and when he gets elected, that he will go in there and, like I said, hopefully he'll bring the hammer down. He may not bring it down as hard as some others might if anything happens to Trump. If they try again to do something to Trump, and this time they actually succeed, then they are making him into a huge martyr, and that will make the right into such a force that the left will not see coming. Like, this will be the final hit, and the left will go down. It will be the end for the Democrats. The right will come in and completely revamp the entire government system so this crap can't keep happening. So we're not stuck in this stupid cycle anymore. I really hope that is the case. I want Trump to go in there with that mindset that he's going to revamp everything so this stops. And I think he'll have a lot of American people's support because it's getting old. It's getting tiring. We are not living in an age where people are really doing anything that is making any significant change. Frankly, the president is just a person who is legally in charge. He's like the lifeguard at the community pool. Everybody else is doing what they're doing, and they're just kind of watching over. They're the ones who get into trouble if something happens. So they try to make sure nothing happens. But they can't watch everything all the time. And that's kind of how the president position sort of feels like right now. That it's kind of just a placeholder person. You got all these other people underneath them making all the decisions. Like there's things that Trump wanted to pass, but it got shot down or immediately got changed as soon as Joe Biden took office because he was all for dismantling the things Trump put into place. Just like Trump dismantled everything Obama put into place. And you're probably wondering, like, okay, so there's got to be more. There has to be something why they hate Trump. And you said you were going to come back to this. Like, aside from being in The Apprentice, why do they hate him so much? And I'll tell you why it is. Because he's somewhat like me. I don't know this for a fact. I didn't know Trump growing up in school. I don't know what kind of life he had. But I can tell you the way he comes off right now, people are saying they hate him just because, well, because they don't like him. Just because. No actual real reason. They want to not like him, so they don't like him. And that's how my life has been. The entire point of my life, so much of my life I have spent being hated and disliked by people. Why? Well, just because. Oh, I had really good things happen to me. You know, I do make some good friends. I have had some friends in my past. I don't ever have a lot of friends. And sometimes the best friends I got were the people I actually said, enough is enough, let's fight. And I didn't even get into those fights. I came close to getting into a fight and stopped it. I either talked my way out of the fight, but I have been in a few fights. And then those people become really good friends with me. But for the mass majority of my peers, my coworkers, my bosses, just random people I meet because they don't like the way I look, or they don't like the way I sound, or who knows why. They just don't like me because, well, because. There's no rhyme or reason why they don't like me. There's no, oh, well, because, I mean, and then I will say this, okay? So, originally, they'll have no reason why they don't like me. Like I said, going through school, there were times where I would be like, you know, oh, well, I just got here and I'm already being picked on. For no rhyme or reason, haven't opened my mouth, haven't even said hello to anybody, and I'm immediately picked on. I work at a place where I point out things, And I'm the one that gets in trouble. Well, why are you pointing it out? Well, because I feel like the boss needs to know. And not in like a snitch way, you know? I'm not talking about being a snitch. I'm just saying, like, you know, I tell someone, you know, hey, you know, the boss doesn't like it when people do that. And they're like, oh, I don't care. And then the boss sees them and does nothing about it, completely disregarding what I've said. Is like, oh, well, I thought you didn't. Like, people sitting on counters. My boss has told me he does not like seeing people sit on counters because they're not chairs. And yet, my boss has walked by and, like, not yelled at people for sitting on counters. And I actually confronted my boss once, and he's like, oh, well, you know, what good will it do? Well, I mean, you're the boss. Fire them if they're doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. Has no problem yelling at me. I have another boss who hates me. I promise you, this woman hates me. And I have heard of the reasons, and I know you don't see me, but I'm using air quotes here. The reasons why she probably hates me. I mean, she hasn't come right out and said it, but I can pick up when usually somebody hates me. Because, like I said, it happens so much in my life. But most recently, the thing that has probably triggered this hatred is the fact I pointed out the law to my boss. I said, hey, what you're doing is against the law. You cannot take my tips. And ever since that day, she will not talk to me now. Unless it's business related, like strictly business related, she will not have a conversation with me. Oh, she'll talk to these little kids and anyone else about anything, but not me. And there's a lot of stuff where she could come in on my defense, or she should have came in on my defense in the past, but because of something said here or something done there, instead of confronting me about it, instead of actually having a dialogue and talking with me, she just wants to jump straight to, I hate him now. Which is fine. You know what? I've had that happen so long in my life. And I think Trump is the same way. He has had so many people just instantly go, oh, I hate you because, well, mostly because they're probably jealous that he's such a rich and successful businessman. And they just want to jump straight to the part where they say, oh, I hate you. So that's how this whole thing with Trump relates to me. That's how this whole thing, because I understand what it's like to just instantly be hated, well, just because. I feel like Gaius Baltar from Battlestar Galactica. And if I feel that way, I guarantee Trump feels the same. You know, like, Baltar, yeah, he made some mistakes in his past. But when the Cylons came, he actually was trying to protect the people there. And people lied to try to get him killed. Oh yeah, by the way, spoiler alert. But if you haven't watched the more recent thing of Battlestar Galactica with Gaius Baltar and all them, I'm sure you don't even know what I'm talking about. But it's a good show. You should definitely check it out. But that whole trial with Baltar, that's one of my absolute favorite moments in that series. And Adama's speech when he's talking about Baltar, why he doesn't deserve a fair trial, and then, well, it's just because, you know what, we don't like you very much. That's why they're attacking Trump with everything they can. I mean, like everybody has pointed out, they've tried to slander him by calling him names, saying, "Oh, he's gonna ruin everything." like the Emperor from Star Wars. Oh, the Jedi are taking over. That's what they sound like. That's what I keep thinking of every time I hear the leftists say what Trump is going to do. Yet Trump hasn't done any of these things. He hasn't even tried to implicate that he might try to do these things. In fact, it's us, the right side, who is wishing he would do some of these things. I wish he would go into office and clean house. I wish he would start deporting people out of the country. Americans out. We'll let the Mexicans in if the troublemakers get out. If we get rid of the traitors who like to burn flags in the middle of the streets. Let's get them out, and fine, we'll take the hard workers in. But if you're criminal, you're out too. We're done with you. We don't want you here. Get out of our country. And I don't care what color skin you got. If you're a major criminal, if you've killed someone, if you've done something really bad, we're sending you out. We're getting rid of. That's what we wish he would do. We wish he would get rid of these people. But he didn't do it the first time. He's not going to probably do it the second time. Why? Because he's going to try to play nice with everybody. But you kill him, and guess what? I guarantee you the next guy who steps up will probably do that. That's what will happen if you try to make him into a martyr. Because they'll be doing it in the name of Trump. And what if you don't like this country, again, if you don't like it, if you don't want to make this country great, then why are you here? Go. If you haven't gotten the point yet, and you can sit there or stand there listening to me for all this time, and you still haven't gotten the point, if you don't like it here, go. You don't have that problem anywhere else in your life, do you? You don't like when people defend Trump? You leave. You don't like when a restaurant is bad and doesn't make the food you do like? You leave and you never come back. Good. So if you don't like it living here, go. Find somewhere else to live. I don't want you dead. I just want you gone. Go to Canada. Go to Mexico. Go to Europe. I'm sure there's another country that will take you in. If you're with Palestine or Israel or wherever, go there, help them. Rebuild some homes there. Do something with your life instead of standing in the way of other working people who don't care about that shit because we got our own lives to deal with. That's who I'm preaching to with this whole video. I know they're probably never going to make it this far into the video. And if they do, they're going to do it as a joke. But, well, guess what? I kind of already figured that. Didn't I? So they'll probably cut this whole part out. But that's what I have to say about it. That's who I'm preaching to. Because the people on the right, hey, you're already on the right side. And I mean that as a double standard there. You're on the right side of the right way to be. And it doesn't matter if you believe in God. I can tell you for a fact, I am not a diehard Christian. My parents keep telling me how much I need to go to church. I write fantasy books about Santa Claus being a wizard. Does that sound like a Christian to you? A diehard Christian? Do I believe in God? Yes. I believe in God. I believe in a lot of things, but I don't believe I have to go to church to do it. So that's my whole little spiel about why people really hate Trump. They really hate Trump just, well, because. And because he's actually the best person for the job, and they're scared that, oh my God, he can actually make better changes, and then we won't have all this drama. And they drama queens, they need their drama. Period. That's why. So anyways, I want to thank you all so much for listening. My contest for my book is still going on. Book 6, like I said, hopefully will be out in September. Books 1 through 5 are available on Amazon, Audible, wherever books are sold, hopefully. It's been a long spiel, and I've been talking this whole time, and I don't even have water to drink. So, I mean, but just before I go, I just want to say, does anybody else realize that this whole thing, the past 8 years, plus the next 4 years, if Trump is elected, it's going to be a replica of the Disney Star Wars movies. Does anybody realize that?
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Because you had Trump in office, who was like J.J. Abrams. He came in, he made a great movie. Yeah, I actually thought 7 was pretty great. I thought it was pretty good. I was happy with it. I was a little annoyed that it was a repeat, but they did make enough changes and they had enough cool new things. But then Episode 8 came out, and it was trash talked a lot before. And then I saw it, and I was very unimpressed with it. I didn't absolutely hate it, just like Biden. I don't hate Biden. I don't think he was the right man for the job, just like I didn't think the director of Episode 8 was the right director for the job. In fact, JJ should have been the director. Again. And if he did not want the job to be, if he did not want to stay for all 3 movies, then Disney should have found someone who did. But no. It went to someone else. And then that guy screwed up 8 so badly, and gave it such a bad rep, they had to get rid of the guy who was going to do Episode 9 and bring JJ back to fix what this guy broke. So basically, it's like Trump, and then you get Biden for 4 years, and now we're going to need to get Trump back in to fix what Biden broke, so his entire next 4 years is just going to be putting back into place what he had. And if we don't get a Republican in after that, then basically it's just going to all fall apart, and it's going to be like the Disney Star Wars stuff, which I might make a video more about that, not about the politics and how it's relatable, but I have an idea for a video talking about current Star Wars stuff. So, but that's my video. I'm so glad you guys stuck to the end. If you did, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you think I nailed it on the head. And I will talk to you all in the next video. Bye.